So I'm recording this right after Big Ank just became champion, and I'm still a little bit shook up, all right? Like, the state of the UFC kind of just took, I don't want to say a big hit, but let's just call it a big change, okay? For better or for goddamn worse, but at the end of the day, I don't know how Uncle Dana or how y'all are feeling about all this, but it got me thinking about how the future of the UFC is going to be looking a little different. And it got me thinking in general, like, what are the state of these title fights that we could be getting? Because we've been hearing a lot of rumors, or some of the title fights we've already gotten that are either very good or very bad, and we're going to have to see what we get. But today I'm going over flyweight through heavyweight, every single division here. We're going to be doing this in the form of a tier list, S through F, motherfuckers, and breaking down which possible title fights for 2025 I think are going to be some of the best and the worst. Now, this is kind of going to be some of the matchups where it's realistic contenders, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be like random situations that come out of nowhere or contenders you don't expect. Like, look at Volk versus Lopez. You know, we didn't expect shit like that. So basically, we're going to be jumping into this, doing every division here. And let's start with Bantamweight, okay? There's been a lot of talk lately about the future of the Bantamweight title division with Merab. Like, is he going to face O'Malley, Jan, whoever the fuck? So let's talk about it with Merab versus O'Malley, all right? Let's just make this quick. Let's make it simple. We're putting this in D, okay? I understand that this is probably what we're getting next. And it's very fucking unfortunate, okay? Because there's so many winnable fights for Sean O'Malley, and not even just the top 5, but the top 10, top 15, whatever the fuck. But we're just giving him a title shot right away after a one-shot run. Oh, and who was it against? Fucking Cheeto Vera, you know what I mean? Like, oh, the big, bad Cheeto Vera, all right? Good performance, I'm not gonna lie, and like the win over Aljo was great, but at the end of the day, man, there's other contenders for Merab, and Merab just kind of schooled Umar, who I feel like was a bit more of a threat compared to Sean. I mean, Sean made the first fight relatively close, but at the end of the day, it was a clear victory for Merab, and he fucking kind of flatlined him, man. The first fight was a dud, too. It was a boring performance from both men here, and O'Malley, I understand he was kind of dealing with injuries or whatever, and the reason this isn't in like a complete F, all right, is because there is the possibility, or there is the talking point that O'Malley can get the KO here, but at the end of the day, that's what the fight's going to be reliant on, because Merab is the bantamweight GOAT right now, and O'Malley just has no hype around him, even though there's winnable matchups for him. We could have saw him versus Figgy, Cejudo, Sandhagen. We're getting fucking none of it. At the end of the day, you're getting what you're getting, kid. Yeah, what was the question? Yeah, O'Malley's bringing in power slam numbers. We're doing what the hell we want. Dana White head ass. So we're putting this in the D tier here. It's a fucking shame we're getting this next. This is one of those fights where the UFC, you know, sometimes they're here for the people, and sometimes they do whatever the fuck they want. This is the instance they're doing whatever the fuck they want. It is what it is. It is what it is, better. We'll find out October 26th. So moving on next to Merab versus Jan 2. I'm going to put this as a C. A strong C. Now, don't get me wrong. I fuck with Merab and I fuck with Jan. And Jan especially, man, putting on banger after banger. One of the best strikers in the UFC. And going against the Bantamweight GOAT, on paper, it's a sick matchup, but then you realize you saw it already the first time. And for as much as you could argue that Jan does deserve the title shot, and I think that's a fair argument, I don't think anyone would fucking complain if Jan got the shot. It's more so the fact that when these guys did fight the first time, Merab kind of schooled them. All right, Merab kind of flatlined them, and it's so unfortunate to say, but at the end of the day, it's the cold, hard Georgian motherfucking truth. And I think that Jan could improve. I think that if this fight did happen again, it wouldn't be a 50-45 per se, but I do think that Merab would come out the winner. Like, I do think that Jan has superior striking, but at the end of the day, I don't really think he has the extreme amount of pop behind his shots enough to take out Merab, because I think Jan versus Umar or Jan versus O'Malley could be more so the vibe. Just like to match Jan's skill set or whatever the fuck, or just to put on great fights to find a number one contender. But if Jan was to just get the shot, I think he could make it semi-competitive, but at the end of the day, after seeing the first fight, it really just doesn't give me much hope. So this is a strong C, you know what I mean? I don't fucking know here. I like both guys individually, but at the end of the day, I feel like it'd be a dud of a rematch, and there's not much hype around it. It's unfortunate, but maybe if Jan gets another fight, there could be a little bit more hype, or Merab gets another fight. But I guess speaking up for the last one we got from Merab here, Merab versus Pantoja. I want to keep the S tier sacred here, all right? And I was thinking about putting this in A, but we're doing all the hardcore takes here, all right? Merab versus Pantoja, yeah, in the S tier, baby. But in all honesty, it is a great fight, stylistically, and just like the amount of legacy on the line, and both these guys have kind of sweeped out their divisions right now. Like, that's why we're looking at Merab's challengers kind of in the lower echelon of this tier list, is because Merab's kind of schooled everybody. More so Pantoja has, and at the end of the day, if the UFC, was run a little differently, this would be the fight that makes sense. But at the end of the day, these are the two champions that we were, and I think that Guru said this best, where he's saying that we're in this era where all these champions are just kind of claiming that they deserve the double champ status. But we have Merab and Pantoja that I feel like arguably, like he was saying, or Guru is saying, that like deserve it more than any of the other champs, arguably. I mean, now that Pereira especially just fucking lost, and Topuria just fucking vacated and all that shit, and Makhachev isn't going to fight Muhammad or whatever the hell. So at the end of the day, man, I mean, regardless of even comparing it to Topuria and those guys, like Merab and Pantoja, you could argue deserve it in their own right, but at the end of the day, there's not enough cha-ching, there's not enough oil money, whatever the fuck, for Big Bang and Uncle Dana, and we're not going to see this matchup. But stylistically, I feel it'd be a lot of fun. I feel like Merab will be a pretty big favorite, but I feel like it'd still be a fun enough matchup because Pantoja could win. The lighter man skill, baby. How's that going to translate up? Because we don't really see too many flyweight versus bantamweight matchups. We saw it with Henry and fucking Dillashaw, but that was kind of a little bit of an asterisk next to that, and I feel like this would kind of just be bigger and better and just higher quality per se. I know both these guys kind of got the personality of duds here. It is what it is. We got Merab. Hey, Sean O'Malley trilogy. I will do it anytime. I play Xbox with Sterling. Come back and beat Pantoja. It is what it is, bro. But hopefully we can see why I'm even trying to convince myself. We're never going to see this fight, but on the off chance that it did happen, the UFC had the motherfucking balls, we would see it. And, that New Jersey card, it would work out timing-wise, but it is what it is. We're going to get a bunch of bullshit. We're going to get Pantoja versus Carl France, and we're going to get Merab versus O'Malley, and we're going to be told to put the fucking spoon in our mouths and keep eating our cereal full of bullshit from Big Bad Uncle Dana. It's unfortunate, man. For as good a fighter now, I'm getting so off track here. Okay, Merab versus Pantoja is going in the S tier. Moving on up next here. Moving on to another division here. I mean, we're coming off of UFC 313, right? And that had, the big bad lightweight co-main event. So let's talk about the lightweight division with Islam Makhachev here. I mean, right away with Makhachev versus Gaethje, I'm sorry. All right, especially I know how some UFC fans, some specific people kind of get right after events. We ride hype a little bit too much, but this is going in the C, okay? It's going above, what did I just fucking put in here? Ayan and Merab for sure, but this is still going to be in the C tier in general. I'm sorry. It's just at the end of the day, man, the reason why I'm not going to put it like super low is because I feel like it would be a really exciting fight. But at the end of the day, it would just be one of those completely undeserved one-win title shots that I really can't fucking stand. And I'm not trying to be a hypocrite and just be like hating on that kind of shit and preaching how it's kind of bullshit. But at the end of the day, because Gaethje's lovable, it's just going to be an S-tier matchup. Like, don't get me wrong, it'd be a really fun fight. I think it for sure end in a finish. But at the end of the day, man, it's someone new for Makhachev, don't get me wrong, and it's someone new for Gaethje. That was kind of a frustrating part about seeing Hooker pull out of the Gaethje fight. For me personally, it was like I wanted to see someone new for Gaethje, not a rematch. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, the Fizzy of rematch kind of delivered. It was a good scrap, but at the end of the day, like this isn't as crazy. This isn't as crazy of like an original matchup per se as one might think. Like stylistically, we've seen this before, and with Gaethje and Makhachev specifically, not against each other, but you know what the fuck I'm saying. But don't get me wrong, there's exciting aspects to it. It would be a banger, but it would, it'd be another title defense for Makhachev. Not to just assume that Makhachev would win, but if we're doing Uncle Smoke's odds here, I'd put this shit at Makhachev as like a minus. I put Makhachev as a minus 380, a minus 450, all right? A minus 500. That's what I'm going to do here for Islam Makhachev, okay? Gaethje has always that puncher's chance, and we saw a nice balance of the patience and technicality with also this close your eyes, bite in the mouthpiece, fucking swinging retarded style from Justin Gaethje. He landed a clean fucking uppercut, I think it was, on Fiziev that almost took him out of there in the second round. So people forget, man, but maybe we could see that Gaethje versus Makhachev, but I'm not really going to believe it. I feel like it'd be very Gaethje versus Oliveira-esque of a fight. So I don't know, man. It's just, I could put this a little bit higher maybe, but I just don't think it does too much for Makhachev, except just another lightweight title defense to kind of separate himself from Khabib. And I don't know, man. Maybe I'm disrespecting this fight a little bit. I'm sorry, y'all, man. Wait, maybe I should put this in B. Hold on, let me think about this. No, I can't, bro. All right, I thought about that for a nice little 30 seconds. I really can't, bro. It'd be a fun fight, but logically, it just should not be fucking happening. For as much as I respect Gaethje and his career and the sacrifice of CTE that he's given us, I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just going to put it as a strong C, okay? Another one for Makhachev here. We got Makhachev versus Oliveira 2. I'm going to put this as like a B-, like a low B. I really don't want to see this fight, but I do feel there is like that little part of my heart, okay? We all wish that we didn't see the fat Volk stepping in for Oliveira when he cut the fuck out of his eyebrow timeline. Jesus H. Christ, man. Like, if we had just gotten that, everything could have played out a little more normally in the timeline, but no. Everything's fucked, and now we're still here a few years later dealing with the consequences, okay? Volk's fucking back, and Oliveira, you know, getting that nice little win over Michael Chandler. So one step at a time here, all right? Trying to get our favorite unks, Charles Oliveira and Alexander Volkanovski, back on track. But Oliveira's Makhachev too, you know, the first fight, I mean, Makhachev kind of made it not seem close. Oliveira did have good moments and made it kind of semi-competitive on the feet, but Makhachev just kind of showed there was levels, and showing levels against a guy like Oliveira, who is one of the most dangerous fucking submission artists in the UFC. He just has so much experience, one of the best lightweights of all time, and for Makhachev to go out there and show levels against him, it was crazy. I feel like this fight kind of runs into the same problem as I was kind of talking about earlier with some of the other fights, where because the first fight ended so efficiently in favor of the champion, now like it's hard to kind of hype up the rematch. But Oliveira is such a fan favorite, and also I feel like both these guys are fucking exciting. Like Makhachev, ever since he goddamn got the belt, is just on an absolute tear right now in terms of excitement, and Oliveira is always going to bring it, well, most of the time at least. But at the end of the day, man, it's a B-, okay? Like, I just don't want to really see this rematch. I feel like there's a lot of other things you could do with Makhachev that are better than this. The only reason it's as high as B- is, again, I just feel a little bit robbed from a few years ago, okay? And I do feel like it'd be a sick fight, but I'm not trying to be hypocritical for the Makhachev-Gaethje thing, because I don't know. People forget, man. Whatever the fuck, all right? Makhachev versus Topuria. Let's put this in S, okay? Like, if you asked me a month or two ago, I would have said like a B, genuinely, because I would have been on the whole. I was one of the guys that was like, you know, I want to see Topuria stick around the division longer. Like, I know it's hard to get excited for the Volk versus Topuria fight, but at the end of the day, like, Topuria versus Evloev, Topuria versus Lopez, I think he'd beat all of them, but longevity is a real fucking thing to really help kind of build legacy, even a little bit, all right? We were just asking for like 2 or 3 title defenses, okay? It wasn't too much, but I feel like now that Topuria is just straight up giving up the belt, and now he's just completely dialed in for lightweight, I mean, now we can have a little bit of fun with it, and now Volk and Lopez can do their fucking thing, and now Topuria versus Makhachev. I mean, you could do a lot with Topuria, and I feel like people wouldn't be mad. Topuria versus Poirier, that's a banger. People would love it. Topuria versus Oliveira, people would fucking love it. Topuria versus Holla. Yeah, let's keep moving on. All right, so Makhachev versus Topuria, though. Now that Topuria is a full-fledged fucking lightweight, whether he faces a Poirier or an Oliveira first or not, or he just gets straight to the title shot, I really don't mind either way, to be honest with you. I feel like he's done enough to where I could see him getting the shot. Especially, I'd rather see that over Makhachev versus Gaethje. We're just trying to fucking convince ourselves of bullshit here. Or we could do Topuria earning a number 1 contendership spot, and Makhachev either waits out or does some random thing. I don't fucking know in the meantime, but I don't know what the hell they're going to do here, but at the end of the day, it's an S-tier fight. Stylistically, it's just a dream matchup. Like, Topuria is such an amazing striker who also has just such amazing grappling in his back pocket, and we really haven't seen it in the past few fights. But Makhachev is probably the most well-rounded guy in the UFC right now, but Topuria is also one of the most well-rounded motherfuckers in the UFC. So skill for skill, it's almost as high level as it gets, man. Especially now that we're in the big, bad, modern era where the talent is as deep as ever. It just goes to show that this is such a high-level matchup. Behind like a Jones versus Aspinall, this is probably about as big of a fight as you can make in the UFC. You know what I mean? It's a hardcore's dream, and you can convince the casuals that it's a goddamn delight, because it is. So then we're going to put that up there in the S tier. So moving on now, I guess we should just talk about the elephant in the fucking room, all right? The Dagestani, last name ended in E-Ev, head ass, elephant in the room. Let's talk about Big Ank, okay? Let's talk about the light heavyweight division now, because it's a bit, I don't want to say shallow of a division, but yeah, a bit of a shallow division relatively to some of these other ones, okay? Especially in terms of title matchups or contenders. We only have 2 here for the light heavyweight division, all right? I'm trying, y'all. There's not really much here. We got Carlos Olberg versus Jan Blachowicz. It's like the big bad matchup of the division. We're just kind of, it's going to be very focused on Prochazka, Pereira, and Ankalaev for the rest of 2025, in my opinion. I feel like that's how the division's going to play out. So that's like, no disrespect to any of the other motherfucking light heavyweights. Like, we got Hill versus Roundtree coming up. That's a fucking banger. That's a high stakes matchup for the division. But I think that the rest of 2025 is going to play out between the same 3 guys. I just got a fucking hunch about it. So let's just do Big Ank versus Pereira, the rematch. I'm going to put this as, I don't know. I really don't know. Let me just talk out loud and maybe they'll have an answer. I'm stuck between like a B or a C, man. I mean, this fight last night, I don't know how y'all felt about it. Again, I'm recording this literally like right after the event just happened. Oh my fuck, I had to fucking check Institute, make sure it wasn't a dream, all right? The little cartoon thing, like the Looney Tunes, they gotta rub their eyes like this and make sure everything's not fake. But no, we're really in the timeline where Big Ank is the champion, man. I shouldn't be so surprised to be, it's not even like I'm surprised, because I feel like all of us were saying it was gonna be very 50-50, and it was 50-50, Jesus Christ. Like, I had Ankalaev winning 3-2, but that's still a relatively like close decision numbers-wise. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Pereira was outstriking him too, but I think it was a good, it sucks, man. I think it was a good decision. It just sucks for the division. And I was really hoping not only for Pereira's legacy, but just for the run he was on. I loved it, man. For it to end this way, you know, with Ankalaev kind of doing his thing. I know it wasn't even wrestling really until the 4th and 5th, but still, and I do think he was the right winner of the fight. It was a dud of a fight. It was a boring fight. I was kind of on the edge of my seat just waiting for Pereira to kind of do something, but he was very timid throughout. He had a couple of moments, but fucking Ankalaev was putting on all the pressure the entire time. And it's just like, I don't know in the rematch. It's like a Merab versus O'Malley kind of, okay? But I guess slightly a little bit better. I don't fucking know. The only exciting aspect is you're kind of just chewing away at the fucking fingernails waiting for the powerful champion to knock the other guy out. So when it doesn't happen, you're kind of just getting gradually disappointed unless you're a huge Big Ank fan. Don't get me wrong. I saw a lot of people picking Big Ank. So I fucking know that all those guys are super happy right now. And at the end of the day, this fight really was 50-50 as hell. So I guess it did live up to expectations in that regard. But in terms of the excitement, it completely just did not deliver, man. It was a lackluster fight. It was fucking boring. Like, a couple of good moments, but it's just, I don't know. So, okay, I guess I'm kind of answering myself out loud. I'm going to put this in the C tier. All right, I'm kind of going to convince myself here. Like, I feel like it would just be the only thing getting me really excited for the fight. Me personally, is just the hope of Pereira kind of taking him out. Like, Ankalaev could be a solid champion. I just don't know if he's going to be active enough. And some of his fights here, let's be honest, are fucking duds, okay? Ankalaev's an underrated finisher, but at the end of the day, he's got some boring fucking fights, right? And when you're coming off of the Rakic fight, and when you're coming off of this one, it's a little bit disappointing for the division and just for Pereira, who was so close to just really, some people already had him as like one of the top 10 fighters of all time. But if he won this, I feel like he truly would have fucking grasped it. So it's unfortunate for him and his legacy, but I'm going to put this in the C tier. This I could be totally wrong about. All right, y'all can clown me. Maybe this is like a fucking A tier. Like, who's going to know? Who knows what's going to happen the second time? But in my humble or completely wrong opinion here, I'm going to put it as like a C. Big Ank versus Prochazka here. I'm going to put this as like the B tier, like a B plus, to be honest. I think that it's impossible to have a boring fight with Yuri Prochazka. I mean, Prochazka's put on genuinely like either all of his UFC fights have either been a fucking back and forth war of a banger, like the Rakic fight, the Teixeira fight, the Jamal Hill fight, or they've ended in a brutal finish where he's either taken out the fucking guy's lights or his lights have been taken out a couple times by Pereira. So he's consistently exciting, and even for some fighters that weren't that exciting on paper, like the Rakic fight, like Prochazka kind of brings out that fucking thrill. All right, he makes it competitive back and forth. So I feel like Big Ank, like I said, Big Ank's an underrated finisher, I was saying earlier. So I think that, again, he puts on some boring fights, but he's entertaining enough to where I think when you put him against a guy like Prochazka, I feel like fire would meet fire in this case. And I feel like it'd be a bit of a barn burner, and I honestly think that Prochazka could win that one. I do. Because the biggest thing that I think was holding Pereira back in this fight was just the lack of pressure. He was very timid in there. Prochazka is just the definition of moving the fuck forward. So I feel like if Big Ank brought that pressure against Prochazka, it'd be a very fun fight. If Prochazka just did his fucking thing, you know, Prochazka's solidly well-rounded in his own right. And Big Ank really, again, didn't use too much wrestling until the last kind of latter end of the fight against Pereira. So we'll fucking see whatever happened there. So this is like a B plus for me. Big Ank versus Prochazka. I feel like that'd be a fun fight, to be honest with you. Kind of an underrated fight that kind of goes under the radar, but I feel like it actually deliver in terms of quality. Who the fuck knows? I don't think we'd actually even get it. Maybe though. Like, I could see if Pereira wants to take some time off, I could see them throwing Prochazka right at the title shot, or if Prochazka wins one more, I could see this fight being possible. I feel like they're going to do the Big Ank versus Pereira rematch sometime in like the late summer or the fall. But if they don't want to do that, or if Pereira for some forgot reason, I don't fucking know, like pulls out via injury or something like that, I feel like Prochazka would step in. So he's a madman, and I feel like it'd be a good fight. I'm going to put that one in the B plus here. So Moving on up next, I mean, shit, man, let's just talk about the welterweight division. Hey, we got me, Belal, running the show like I'm the goddamn new GSP of this generation. I'm beating the fudge out of guys left and right. Shavkat and JDM, they're all losers. They got nothing on me. And Khabib's ordering coffees on me in the wrestling room. You guys can't do shit. No, well, dude, it's always crazy with the Belal impressions, bro. I swear. Okay, I swear. And I forget that the motherfucker doesn't swear. So it's a little bit difficult. But all right, we got Belal Muhammad taking on JDM here. This is going to be, God, I'm filling up the seat here, y'all. And I don't mean to be that guy, Jesus Christ, because I feel like there's a lot of good fights to look forward to here. Hopefully, at least. But Muhammad versus JDM is just so random. Okay, am I the only one that it just kind of really caught us off guard? I know that they said on commentary tonight, too, that we almost saw Muhammad versus Buckley. I'd almost look forward to that maybe a little bit more than versus JDM. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm pretty cool with Muhammad. I'm acting like I fucking know the guy. Like, I don't really hate the guy, all right? I mean, the only fighter I could really go on to say I even really dislike is John motherfucking Jones. But I know Muhammad could be boring, but I at least respect the fucking pressure he puts on guys. His skill set's really been fucking developing. I respect that he wants to be active. So I don't mind Belal Muhammad, okay? And I kind of like JDM as well. Like, he's a guy that gets the fuck after it, I know that people were kind of shitting on him at times. Or JDM gets a random amount of shit. But at the end of the day, like, I fuck with JDM. He's an exciting fighter. And on paper, this is a good matchup. But, like, it just completely came out of nowhere. And JDM really didn't get that full-fledged #1 contender spot. Like, we could have saw him versus Leon almost. And last year, we almost saw him versus Shavkat. Or we should have seen, I should say, him versus Shavkat. But we didn't get that both times. So it's unfortunate. Like, JDM was on track to becoming the full-fledged #1 contender, but we just got there a little bit too early. And for Belal, like, when you're thinking about him versus Islam Makhachev, or him versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, or him versus Buckley, and then you don't get any of those and you get JDM instead. It's nothing against JDM, because again, like, I like both of these guys, and I feel like on paper this is a solid matchup. Like, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see if Muhammad's boxing, his new and improved striking, can be able to hang with not only the power of JDM, but just, like, I feel like JDM's the clear superior striker here. How's Muhammad's pressure and evolved striking going to be able to fucking hang with that? Because JDM, I feel like, could take your lights out from anywhere from between the first round and the fifth. Well, no shit, but, like, literally, I wouldn't be surprised if JDM is the type of guy, where, I'm the type of guy, but really, like, if he gets, like, the last minute finish, and it wouldn't be too shocking in there. So at the end of the day, even with that being said, man, I just feel like this is a fine matchup that's just coming at too soon of a time, man. Belal, there were better things, and it's just kind of a step down here. And with JDM, we kind of just needed to see him become a little bit more of a full-fledged #1 contender. Again, I like both guys. It's a fine matchup. My heart's not really in this one, all right? Like, I think it's a solid pay-per-view headliner, don't get me wrong, but nothing too crazy about it. You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy about it. So now we got Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov here. This is going in the B tier, okay? I feel like when this fight was originally going to go down in December of last year for UFC 310, I think it was. I mean, dude, I'm not kidding. I put that in the A tier. I was pretty excited for that fight, to be honest with you. Like, I really respected the turnaround from Belal. Shavkat, I think, is very overrated. And I was saying this even before the Ian Gary performance, but I think he's overrated a bit, all right? I think he's fucking good. Very dangerous, and is going to be most of the division, don't get me wrong, but I was saying, man, that the wrestling is a bit questionable, and Muhammad might be able to show levels here, but nobody was motherfucking listening, all right? But at the end of the day, now that we saw Shavkat versus Gary, and now that we're getting Muhammad versus JDM instead, and I don't know, man, the fight went from kind of an A to a B for me, you know what I mean? So this is still a solid matchup. I do want to see it still, you know what I'm saying? And I know that when these guys faced off, it was absolutely no fucking aura. It was deprarious in there, right? It was deprarious, as they say, depressing but hilarious. That's what I kind of like to call it. But it is what it fucking is, man. This is going in the B tier. It's a good fight, and I feel like it would deliver. I feel like it honestly be underratedly fun, okay? I know that Shavkat can have some fucking duds, and I know that Belal Muhammad can clearly have some fucking duds, but I feel like it'd be a good fucking scrap, all right? Sue me, whatever the fuck here, but I'm going to be putting this one in the B tier. So moving on now to Muhammad versus Makhachev. I'm tempted to put this in S, but I'm going to be putting it in A. Okay, it's one of those double champ fights that I think is very good. I'm pretty sure this is the first thing I've even put in A tier, but I think that this is a good matchup, and I think that it could be fun. I think we'd see very high level grappling here, but at the end of the day, it's one of those double champ matchups that just doesn't really excite me as much as, like, someone else. Like, I think that Islam Makhachev deserves it. Like, I forgot what specific context I was talking about earlier, but I was talking about how there's a lot of double champs that don't really deserve to go up. Or there's a lot of champions that want double champ status and want to go up, but it's a little fucking too soon, man. They get a little ambitious with this, and they don't really deserve it, to the brother. But Islam Makhachev, man, has deserved it. You know, he set the title defense record, and I mean, you know, win over Gaethje, all right. But even like Islam Makhachev versus Poirier from last year, like, it's kind of that, but even I'd rate the Poirier win even a little bit higher, which don't even get me started on this, okay? Because I know Gaethje beat Poirier the last time, whatever the fuck. We're not doing this, okay? Muhammad versus Makhachev is a good matchup, and stylistically it could be fun. I feel like it'd be Sterling versus Evloev, kind of esque. I feel like it kind of play out like that. But just with a little bit more, or sorry, I guess I should say a lot more. No, we are doing Belal Muhammad here as 50% of this. But it would be, there'd be more high risk of a finish, right? There'd be a little bit more urgency. I think Sterling versus Evloev was a fun fight. But I just think we're dealing with kind of some pillow hands there. All right. And at the end of the day, Makhachev packs a motherfucking punch. So I feel like that threat on the feet would be a little bit different or more high level here. So who the fuck knows? And also skill for skill. I mean, I feel like Muhammad and Makhachev, these guys are the motherfucking champs comparatively to guys like Sterling and, Sterling was former champ, and Evloev, who are very good, but I feel like not on the level of Muhammad and Makhachev. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to put it in the A tier here. I hope I'm making sense with that. So moving on now, let's talk about the middleweight division here. So let's do DDP versus Chimaev, man. This is going in the S tier. All right, International Fight Week, baby. Let's run it, Uncle Dana. This is a sick as fuck fight. Let's do it in the States. DDP's hunting for the finish at all times. Chimaev's hunting for the finish at all times, all right? This fight will be fucking explosive. Both these guys are relentless in there. DDP's making great improvements. Chimaev is now, you know, he went from, I coming to kill everybody, brother. I coming to kill everybody. And now I'm a humble father. I make candles and sell them to the needy children. Like, it's a whole ass, like, as soon as Chimaev becoming dead, now he's going through this crazy character arc, right? This is like some shit straight out of Vinland Saga or whatever the fuck. But this is a great fight. Stylistically, it's a goddamn barn burner. Both these guys are going to fucking absolutely bring it. Chimaev is, I feel like, if it's not Imavov, it's Chimaev. It's just a clear number one contender. This is a fight that would actually fucking sell too. DDP's a goddamn bully on the mic, so this fight could clearly have some good build-up. And just in the cage, man, it'd be a great back and forth. So can DDP's be able to hang, man? I feel like DDP's arguably the more well-rounded fighter, but Chimaev's grappling is just so much above everyone else. It's like, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? This is a goddamn S-tier matchup, and it clearly worthy of headlining like some International Fight Week, but let's hope we can get it, man. I mean, we are going to get it. Let's hope we don't have to wait too long, or let's hope it's not going to be in like some Abu Dhabi shit, you know, once a year Chimaev kind of thing. Let's get Chimaev back in the motherfucking States, all right? Dana and Trump, come on. I see y'all. Let's get this done, okay? DDP versus Imavov, I'm going to put it in the B tier. I'm going to put it in the B tier. I'm going to put some respect on Imavov. I'm a big DDP fan, so maybe I'm a little bit biased here. I feel like some people would put this in the A and some people would put it in the fucking D, but my ass is going to be putting it in B. I feel like it'd be pretty fun. Imavov's pretty well-rounded and is coming off a lot of momentum right now. I mean, it's not like people were really hating or disrespecting him before, but the gap in aura or just attention between the victories over Allen and Adesanya is pretty insane. So DDP versus Imavov, I feel like, is the fight. Not necessarily to make, but Imavov either should get it after Chimaev or should face like Caio Borrell or someone and, you know, face the winner of DDP and Chimaev in the winner. Someone like that, bro. I don't fucking know. But this is a good fight. Stylistically, it could be fun. Imavov, again, if you want to put him ahead of Chimaev, behind Chimaev, whatever the hell, it doesn't matter to me. I could see it being deserved or not deserved or whatever the hell, but I'm going to put it in the B tier here. I like this for DDP and I like it for Imavov. So moving on, up next now to the flyweight division, baby. All right, this one's going to be relatively quick. Don't have too much to say about this because here's the fucking thing, you guys. We're dealing with Pantoja versus Royval 3, okay? And like, this is a D, all right? Royval, man, I respect that he's like the Whitaker or the Holloway kind of this division, okay? He's kind of just that guy, like, who's beating everybody else besides the champ. I can fucking respect that. And Royval, he gets the fuck after it, okay? But there's no aura or real interest to this. Like, it's a trilogy that we really don't need to see, okay? Moreno versus Figgy, the quadrilogy, fool me once, okay? But you're not with this one, okay? Not Pantoja versus Royval 3, man. There's other shit for Pantoja. Royval would need to win a couple more, man, you know? I feel like he would have had to beat Cop and then maybe run it back with, I don't even know who the fuck, but just kind of even another one after that. And it's not even like it's Royval's fault. It's just, again, like it's a Whitaker and Holloway situation or a Kobe Covington as well. Like, it's just during somebody else's era, man, and it's fucking unfortunate, but that's just, I'm putting this in D. I apologize. Pantoja versus Cop, this is going to go in the A tier. I like this scrap. crap, man. I feel like it'd be a lot of fun. I would like to see what Cop bringing to Pantoja on the feet, who's been developing a lot in the striking department, man. I feel like this would be a really fun back and forth. Cop is just on a fucking tear right now, and I feel like this would be a respectful build-up, brother. It'd be a respectful build-up, even though I know Cop is able to talk his shit. I feel like he'd be a great champion. He's riding a lot of momentum. I love that he's active as hell. It was a long time coming, but now we have active Cop. Love that we got that before GTA 6, but like this I'm putting in the A, man. Pantoja versus Cop, I feel like would be one of those flyweight bomb burners, and I fuck with it, and I could like the, respectful build-up. Might be a little bit dull in that department, but Cop is exciting enough, and Pantoja can be exciting enough to where it's like, I feel like this would be a good fight. So Pantoja versus Cara France, you're going in the D tier, kid, all right? I could argue that this could go in B or C, but just for me personally, man, like it doesn't have that. Should I put it in C? Am I being disrespectful here? You know what? We'll give it some grace. We'll put Pantoja versus Cara France. We'll put that in the C. It is something new for Pantoja. I don't know, man. I don't even like these one title shot wins. I get why they're doing it because it is flyweight and they don't really have a lot for Pantoja. But Pantoja versus Merab, man. Cara France versus Manel Kape. And then Jan versus Sean O'Malley. That's all you had to do. That's just, and each one of those matchups are bigger than what they're going to end up giving us. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate, but we're going to get Pantoja versus Cara France. I'm going to put it as like a low C. Like this is a C minus here. There's just not a lot of investment in this one, man. It's something new for Pantoja, and Cara France has coming off of a nice win, but there's just not much to it, man. There's not a lot of aura here. There's not a lot of presence. Seems like we're just kind of racking up a win for Pantoja. Don't get me wrong. I can completely fucking see Cara France getting it done. It wouldn't surprise me, especially at flyweight shit. Sometimes shit doesn't make sense down there, okay? You know when you get like the SpongeBob, like bikini bottom, but then you go a little too far and you got to like the rock bottom scene. That's kind of like flyweight sometimes, right? Sometimes shit doesn't really make as much sense as you would think, and sometimes people win that maybe necessarily shouldn't. They're skilled motherfuckers, just great fighters in there, but at the end of the day, man, shit is kind of backwards sometimes. So let's fucking see it, man. But Pantoja versus Cara France, I'm going to put it as like a low, like a C minus, man. Get the fuck out of here. So, shit, man. Moving on now to the heavyweight division here. I'm going to be assuming that Tommy Aspinall is the champion here. I mean, he's my undisputed champ. I apologize, y'all. Jones can get the fuck out of here. I mean, holding up the division, it's an embarrassment to have as a go to the sport. It's fucking ridiculous. And Aspinall is the man. All right, just let's get the fuck out of here with that. John Jones is holding up Aspinall's career, holding up the division. He can get fucked. Aspinall versus Pereira, okay? This doesn't have much value now that Pereira's kind of coming off of this loss. Maybe if he beats Ankalaev in the rematch, all the hype will come back. But Aspinall versus Pereira right now, I feel like would be fun. I'll put it and give it its respect to where I'll put it in the A tier. I feel like Aspinall beats him in one round, to be completely honest with you, but I still think that maybe it'd be like one of those situations where, I mean, Pereira is even big for light heavyweight standards, so maybe it's just a situation where he just fucking keeps moving up. Like, it moved up from middleweight to light heavyweight, now light heavyweight to heavyweight. It might just be a smooth transition like that. I really don't fucking know, but this is a fight that could be S. Maybe I'm putting a little too much respect on it, to be honest. Maybe it should be a B, but I'm going to put it as A, okay? Like, again, would be a lot more hyped if Pereira won. If Pereira won against Ankalaev tonight, this would be an S tier. This would be, I feel like, the next fight to fucking make, to be honest with you. But because Pereira lost, we're in a bit of a log jam here. I'm going to put this one in the A tier. It could still have some hype, but it just depends all where Pereira is at, you know what I'm saying? So, Aspinall versus Jones, this is going in the S tier. I mean, it fucking sickens me and it hurts me because I know that we're probably not even going to get this fight from how it sounds. It's so unfortunate, man. This could be the biggest heavyweight title fight of all time. The biggest heavyweight fight of all time. One of the biggest fights pound for pound of all time. But it's just Jones. It's motherfucking Jones. You want it. I want it. Uncle Dana wants it. Tommy Boy wants it. But John bitch-ass Jones, man, holding up this man's career. And it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous how we're just waiting for these answers. How Aspinall's just forced to sit in the fucking sidelines. This fight would be amazing. Stylistically, it's a dream matchup. We have so many question marks about Tom Aspinall that can be answered by John Jones. Jones is well-rounded enough and has fraud check people forward to where I feel like he could bring that out at Aspinall, but Aspinall is just so dangerous for Jones and presents so many new problems for him that he hasn't had to face before. And like, I think Aspinall would beat Jones, but I can't lie. It's a very competitive fight. It's very fucking 50-50. You want to talk about Big Ank and Pereira? I said that was 50-50, but that's not even compared to Aspinall versus Jones, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So Aspinall and Jones, man, is as pick 'em as a fight as you can get. And I'm still going to be going with Aspinall, but it's an amazing fight that needs to be made. But I'm scared that it's not going to happen, man. I got this weird fucking feeling. It's unfortunate, but we're talking about Aspinall versus Gane now. Ciryl Gane. This is like a C. I don't know, man. Like, there's not really much to this. God, I'm cramming the C tier, bro. I'm sorry. Like, going into this video, I was, like, expecting a lot of A's and B's. Holy shit, though. C is filling the hell up. Like, fat kids on a short bus. I don't even know what that means, but Jesus. Okay, so Aspinall versus Gane. I don't know, man. Like, if this was a few years ago, I feel like it'd be hype, but Gane has just lost. He's out here making movies and shit, man. And he's coming off with a robbery win over Volkov. It's unfortunate that that was the #1 contender fight. I mean, also Aspinall versus Volkov too. I literally have nothing to say about it, so let's just go ahead and put that in D. For as much as Volkov did beat Gane and deserves the title shot, the improvements he's made is great to see, and he has a really good win streak going on if we're going to fucking count the Gane win that he should have gotten, and then eventually get a title shot, but... Dude, man, it's just Aspinall whooped him in one round the first time. It's so, I'm sorry, I gotta, and by submission too. So at the end of the day, I gotta put it in D. No disrespect to Volkov. No disrespect to Aspinall. I love Aspinall, but dude, like, this is going to the D tier. And Aspinall Gane is going in the C tier, man. Like, Gane, just nowadays, man, I feel like his heart's not in this, bro. And if he's losing to Volkov, I can only imagine the terrible things that Aspinall would do to Gane. That's the reason that I'm not putting this fight any higher between Gane and Aspinall. Like, Gane is a great volume striker. He moves like a fucking middleweight. He's definitely talented and he's definitely good, especially in the striking department, but it's just, especially for heavyweight standards. But at the end of the day, it's not fun for me because I feel like Aspinall would just be some -500 favorite and just be expected to whoop Gane in a round. And Gane is beatable. He's lost to Ngannou, arguably, and he's lost to Jones, and I feel like he'll lose again. And he lost to Volkov. So it's just at the end of the day, man, it's going in C, like a mid-C. I don't fucking know, bro. Finishing up here now with the featherweight division, man. So these are pretty much, I mean, we already kind of got this fight here, but Volkanovski versus Lopez. This is going in the A tier, man. This is a great fucking scrap. I really like this fight. The only things that are kind of holding it back is there is kind of that mystique of, you know, that Topuria was the champ, and it's kind of like a DC taking over situation or something kind of that ask. You know what I'm saying, bro? So Volk versus Lopez is a great fight. I'm very fucking glad they made it. It makes a lot of sense for the division. Really helps us fucking figure things out. And Volk is deserving, Lopez is deserving, and it's going to be a barn burner. I think it's going to be a really fun back and forth. Lopez is going to be dangerous as hell for him, but Volk has the championship experience and the well-roundedness, all right, motherfuckers, to get it done. It's a very close fight to call. It's going to be fun as fuck, and it makes a lot of sense for the division. Just a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit of weirdness around it as well. That's why I'm not completely put in S, but I am going to put it in the A tier. An A+, in fact, all right, this is a fantastic fucking fight, and I'm a massive Volk fan, my favorite fighter, so I'm rooting for him all day. So, Lopez versus Evloev 2 here. Okay, Lopez versus Evloev 2. This is going to go in like, shit, man. I'm going to put this in the B tier. I was going to say A tier. I'm going to put it, fuck. No, I'm going to put it in the A tier. Yeah, I'll put it in the A tier, man. Listen, the first fight was just so good between them. And for those that watch my channel, know that I shit on Evloev, bro, okay? I think Evloev is a bit overrated, man. In some regards, I think that he's just boring as fucking there. I think there's no finishing ability, no urgency at times, no excitement. His past few fights have admittedly been pretty fun, but his general discography, there's just not a lot there. It's a lot of fucking duds. And he's a nightmare champion for the division. So fucking sue me that I don't want to see Evloev fighting once a year of all fucking things for the division. And it's a stacked division, arguably. So it's like, you know what I mean? So I don't want Evloev to be running the fucking show. But at the end of the day, man, Lopez is Lopez. The first fight was good. The reason why I changed it from B to A is because I was going to put it in B, but then I realized how good of a fight I was hyping this up to be as a #1 contender fight. But like now, if it be for the belt, that's kind of a sick, like, full 360 circle kind of story there. So, honestly, I'm going to put it in the A tier. For as much as I dislike Evloev, I can't deny that the fight itself and the build-up and just the full circleness of everything would be kind of sick as fuck to see. So, I'm going to put it in the A tier for Lopez Evloev too. Volk versus Evloev, kind of it's crazy that we're finishing off on this. Volk versus goddamn Evloev. Oh, you know, I'm the type of guy, but I don't know, man. Fucking C? Like, I don't know. I love Volk, and again, like, I like his fight against Evloev here, but Volk versus Evloev, or I like his fight against Lopez here, but the fight against Evloev, man, it's like, well, it's just, there's really not much, man. I feel like it'd be a bit of a dud. Like, I think that Volk would beat him. I think that just Evloev would be, you know, solidly dangerous for him on the ground, but it's like squeaky clean dangerous. It's not actually like finishing ability dangerous. Like, I don't know, man. Evloev would just kind of smudge him, if anything, but Volk has mean motherfucking takedown defense. I feel like the Evloev would get shut the fuck down on the feet and on the ground. I don't know. And Evloev, again, is as boring as it kind of is. Like, don't get me wrong, I put him and Lopez up there for a reason because I feel like those two could bring out the best of each other. You know, like some Goku versus Majin Vegeta shit. Like, there's just rivalries that are meant to motherfucking be, bro. But at the end of the day, Volk versus Evloev is completely kind of the opposite, and it's going as like a C- here. So that's a lot of the fights that we just kind of went through. I do this every time. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go into this one. I know I'm a bit of a yapper. I do a lot of yap sessions here, but I'm going to go and I'm going to make this little 20, 25-minute video. And then I always go over like 40. I get closer to a goddamn hour than not. But hey, man, it is what it is, bro. I yap, and it is what it fucking is. But thank you guys so very much for making it this far in the video. I really, really appreciate it. If y'all could help me get to 1,000 subscribers, it'd mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. But just in general, man, thank you guys so very much for liking this video, for watching this video. I appreciate y'all so very much for that. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. Let me know what title fights you want to see and which ones you don't. Let me know what you think of my rankings. What would you do differently? Where did I get it right? I have no fucking idea. But thanks so very much for making this far in this video. Appreciate y'all a lot. All the smoke MMA here. I will see you guys soon. Hopefully getting a couple videos up next week. And we got a dud of a fucking Apex card. Pretty unfortunate because 313 was pretty good. But maybe we'll do some matchmaking next week. And maybe we'll do another hot takes episode. Some shit like that. But appreciate y'all a lot, man. I will see you guys next time.